You know what my absolute favorite clip of all time from the 2020 Black Lives Matter riots is? It's this video clip right here.
Why are you on? We're on your side! We're on your side! Holy shit! We're on your side! We're on your side!
I genuinely believe that this video clip should be in a museum because here you have a bunch of white frat boys that are in their wonderful apartment having a good time playing beer pong. They spot the Black Lives Matter rioters outside of their windows and they start throwing up fists of support saying that they're on their side, and immediately, and I mean immediately, a brick is chucked through their window. Now, of course, these people are absolutely oblivious of the reality that the rioters are not on their side. They could give a damn about anyone they are out there to destroy, so they start yelling, "Hey, we're on your side, we're on your side, we're on your side," and then ultimately another brick is thrown through the window. This is the perfect distillation of people who are so white guilted and absolutely wussified that they bend the knee to the Black Lives Matter rioters when explicitly these people and their organizations say that they are against you. I mean, seriously, what bigger hint did you need than this organization, than these groups of people naming everything bad and horrific after white people? Even the behaviors of minorities that they don't like is also attributed to phantom white supremacy that's out there in the world. They're not on your side, they're against you. It's kind of laughable, like a feminist saying, "Hey, I'm not against men, I just named everything awful and terrible and evil after men, but I don't quite understand why you people are so upset and calling me a man-hater." This is obviously the true indication of their beliefs, and it is symbolized perfectly right there with a brick being thrown through the window of people who say, "We're on your side." And just in case you needed that message doubled up, they did it twice. Well, today's story is exactly the same thing. You have an individual who had been showing up to these ICE protests. He was all down for the illegal aliens. He's been a staple in a San Francisco neighborhood. And then ultimately what ended up happening is that he went back to his own business to discover that it was vandalized with anti-ICE sentiments, pro-Palestine stuff, because these are the same people just updating the firmware on the issue of the day. And he's absolutely shocked and horrified that the very same people that he would march with would turn against him. But the thing is, they didn't turn against you. They were always against you. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
A popular gathering spot in San Francisco's Mission District is cleaning up after vandalism last night. Manny's café got its windows smashed in. Happened while a large group of anti-ICE protesters marched through the Mission District. But instead of targeting ICE, this business was vandalized with anti-Semitic graffiti directed at the owner's Jewish background.
So that's the setup to this story that gives you an indication of what actually went down at this particular location. However, I heavily want to emphasize at this moment in time, because it's early on in the reporting, that this is alleged vandalism. Now, of course, this would be very easy for the city of San Francisco to clear up. They have lots of surveillance. We would be able to see if a large mob of people ultimately ended up vandalizing his location. However, I want to give a degree of skepticism because it seems rather weird unless he had signage or something of the sort that indicated the Jewish origin or the Israeli support that is associated with this particular business, that he got that specific level of harassment. Now, of course, you see panes that are painted with Free Gaza. There was also graffiti that said the only good settler is a dead settler. So again, we would have to know what actually set these people off, what actually triggered these particular rioters in order to initiate this attack before we just take it whole cloth as absolute fact. That being said, I would not be surprised by this either direction, honestly, because we covered a recent hoax by the Los Angeles deputy mayor in the opposite direction, but the rioters attacking somebody who is broadly supportive of said rioters' alleged cause also is something that does not shock me. And again, it's San Francisco. These are left-wing areas. These are the businesses that stayed despite all the problems with the left-wing governance. And of course, unsurprisingly, small businesses end up getting vandalized, not just this particular location, and they get spray painted with a bunch of different graffitis ways that are indicative of the causes that these people support.
The owner says, in addition to the cleanup, he's dealing with a mix of emotions.
You know, I'm a peace-loving person. I fully support the reason behind the protest. I was at one of the protests earlier in the day yesterday.
So this guy right here says that he's a peace-loving person and he totally supports the underlying message of the protest. And in fact, he actually attended one the day prior to this riot breaking out and destroying his property. And again, I will just point out that this is perfectly indicative of the "we are on your side, we are on your side" clip that I showed you in the open.
Why are you? We're on your side. We're on your side. Holy shit.
But also, again, at this moment in time, even though this kind of story tracks perfectly, I am very skeptical of this person, especially if it is shown to us that his business is the only business in the area to have been targeted, and especially if we don't ever get any video footage of a large group of people doing the vandalism. I do think that it is entirely possible that he could have victimized himself. In fact, people in the community have already rallied around him. At this moment in time, there is a GoFundMe for his support. So we're in a weird situation where a hoax is entirely possible, but also rioters destroy stuff all the time, and the Free Palestine people are writing "Free Gaza" and "the only settler is a good settler," which they would argue is not anti-Semitic graffiti. However, this person could be targeted because of an Israeli sign or something that indicated Jewish origin, or he could be a citizen of Israel who moved to San Francisco in order to open this business. As of right now, as of this very moment, we just don't have enough information to fully confirm this situation. However, I do want to point out it would not be surprising in any direction. Again, an absolute doof who doesn't realize that these rioters, that these people who want to tear down American society, who hate America and not just the United States of America, but every single country that is aligned with the United States of America, would target his business as a part of some weird anti-immigration protest is not surprising, and it should not be surprising to anyone, especially post the Black Lives Matter riots where we saw similar things come into play.
So it's sad because I feel like the anger that's directed at my business is misplaced. I love San Francisco. Like, I came here with nothing, and this city has given me everything. And in moments like this morning, I feel like maybe I don't belong here. Maybe I shouldn't be here. Like, maybe it's not safe for me to be here. So those two things live together in my heart right now.
So this guy gives his whole spiel about how he came to the United States and came to San Francisco, and he loves this area. He feels like the city has given him everything, and he talks about how maybe he feels like he doesn't want to be here. And if he is telling the truth, if this actually happened, I do feel bad for him. However, there is an indication of why this business would be specifically targeted in the very next shot. It's this still frame right here, where we find out that this is not only a cafe, but a political bookstore. So if this person, who is of Jewish origin, possibly an Israeli citizen, have not found that to be confirmed, let me be 100% clear about that, is running a political bookshop and they have political statements that indicate that they are pro-Israeli, and obviously the pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas, anti-ICE rioters, which are all kind of one and the same, would likely target his specific location and write all of these different graffitis. And again, I will also point out that even though this is described as an anti-Semitic attack, most of the stuff is the stuff that left-wingers would say is not necessarily anti-Semitic, it's actually anti-Zionist. I mean, even though we're spray painting it on synagogues and Jewish-owned businesses, trust us, it has nothing to do with Judaism, it's all about anti-Zionism. So again, I could see the justification on both sides. If there were swastikas painted all over, like we've seen many a time during these hoaxes, then that would be a little bit more suspicious to me, if I'm being perfectly honest with you guys right now. But as of this moment, it seems like this is definitely a possibility. However, again, we will have to wait for more information to come out for us to understand whether this is legitimate or not. So we hear that he raised about $40,000 from his GoFundMe.
QTL says he's asking for the community's help to repair the damages done to his business. The GoFundMe has raised nearly $40,000 so far.
Now, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking about this particular story, and I just want you to know that I was right there with you too, which is I'm extremely skeptical of his account of events. I'm extremely skeptical that these people just targeted this business right here, and I would need more proof, in fact, broader proof of a larger group of people that were targeting this specific area, because otherwise it is very likely that this guy decided to victimize himself in order to gain sympathy. And the thing is, we actually have that information. It's just not well presented in this local news segment. It comes from the San Francisco Chronicle, where we have multiple witnesses who said that they saw a splinter group from the protesters go towards Manny's cafe and tear it up. In addition to that, we have an undescribed political event at this particular location, which, by the way, it is indicated as a political bookstore in this still image right here. And it makes sense if this particular political event was something that was not exactly what these people were into, maybe something related to Israel, that the ICE protesters, who are also the pro-Palestinian people, who are also the Antifa thugs, who are also the pro-Hamastinian people, would decide to tear up this event. So we have a third-party account. There's apparently some video footage that was seen by the San Francisco Chronicle, and as of this moment in time, they have yet to publish it, but it seems like there is evidence to indicate that this actually happened, even though, again, I can understand why you were skeptical when I first watched this local news segment. The way that this guy was talking was making me incredibly skeptical of his whole story, of his whole explanation, but it does appear we have a situation here where a guy who thought he was on the side of the rioters, who thought he agreed with the underlying message, got that brick thrown through his window, took it on the chin, because this is exactly what happens to people who don't realize that they want to mess with you. They want to destroy anything that anyone's built in the United States of America, and that includes you, even if you're on their side and think you're supportive of him. Again, life lesson to be learned, definitely. And if there are different facts that come out in the future that indicate that this was a much more elaborate hate hoax than we've ever seen in our entire lives, I will update the story in the future in order to indicate the new information. But as of right now, you see somebody who thought he was on their team definitely learning the hard way that he's 100% not on their team. Now, of course, those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias. You can support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a tale as old as time, somebody being betrayed by the very leftist movements that they supported. Till next time.